Maybe I should talk to this guy.
Oh yeah, sure. He may be an old local.
He's an old local.
Maybe. Or maybe he's just a landscaper.
How are you, sir? Are you a local?
Yeah.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
My name's Gino. I live on Nantucket. You ever heard of that place?
Certainly have.
Have you lived here your whole life?
No.
So how many years would you say?
Well, I came in 50, bought a house in 16, moved here in February in 7.
Fair enough. Do you like
What are we doing here?
It's a TV show for where I live on Nantucket.
Oh,
I'm just wondering, how do you feel about the way the Aspen's changed?
love it.
You do love it. It's fine.
Yeah. Great.
Are there people, do you think that's the way most people feel?
Well, you know, there's always the old sourpuss that think you never should change instead of saying that there's going to be change as long as it's good. Look at this. How could it be any nicer? When I bought my house in 60, there was nothing here. A bunch of little old shacks over there.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, there's been some down things. The more people you get, the worse it gets.
That's it.
And but it'll be good in my lifetime. At 84, I probably make it to the end.
You're 84?
Yeah.
And you're out here raking leaves?
Of course.
You look fabulous.
That's what keeps you young.
You look fantastic.
No, but it's, you know, the skiing's even better.
Are you a
Lake
skier?
Powder. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Powder skiing. Fabulous.
What do you do in the summertime? Are you active in the
I
summertime?
hiked,
Yeah.
Crested Butte, that's 18 miles. I ride my bike up the pass.
Oh,
that's
come on.
24
Not at
miles.
84.
At 84. It's a good, healthy climate.
Good for you. You married?
Yeah, got 3 boys. One of them got killed on a big ice climb in the Tetons. And he's in a big climb in China.
Oh, no.
But he was doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah, boy.
He's a
Did
tough-
you hear about that guy that just
Yeah.
died?
Oh, yeah.
He's like the thing.
Everybody loves him in Aspen.
Is he in Aspen?
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I'm trying to think of his last name.
Do you remember it,
I wanna
Mike?
say
Bridges?
Richardson, but,
Bridges?
uh,
Is that his name?
Dave.
Anyway,
Dave.
Dave
he's
Bridges.
in the paper today.
Oh,
He his buddy that was with him.
And I guess
But
the...
you know, 1 out of 10 climbers get it, so
I know it,
you
man.
got
That's
to remember that it's a. My son got it just for a guy. They climbed 2,000 feet in an ice climb in the winter, and his friend said, "Let me take your picture. Well, don't come over the top." And I'm sure he lost his concentration for a second. Fell 2,000 feet. So I felt as sorry for the guy that took the picture as I did my son.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Well, we're very fortunate. No, you know, there's a lot of wealth, there's a lot of fast lane, there's a lot of that jazz, but you get that down in Nantucket,
That's right.
New England.
Yes, we do.
And in turn, there's a lot of generous people. Jack Nicholson lives in that greenhouse, or he owns it, and he has another one out here.
Oh, he does, right. I heard he has a house with a racquetball court in it.
No, you're talking about Gerald Hines.
Oh, okay.
He owns Highlands.
Oh, okay.
And this guy over here, see that little brick thing?
Yeah.
He just gave $50 million to the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
Wow, that's a bit
So,
controversial right now, isn't it?
You know, there are a lot of generous people,
Yeah.
even though they may be wealthy. And then there's always what we call the losers, you know.
Who
you
are
don't
they?
have to,
Who are the
you
losers?
don't have, well, you know, the people that don't know how to make money and then give it away.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You got to be, you know, well, after all, what the hell, you know? I mean, if you make $100 million a year, what are you going to do with it? Except to try to do something good with it.
I agree. Totally agree.
So it's,
When I make my first $100 million, I'll be the first guy to start giving
I
it
hope
away.
you do.
That's right.
The richer my friends are, the happier I am.
There you go. Well, okay, sir.
Take
All the
care.
best to you.
Good
Thanks
night.
for talking with me.
Okay, I'm Tom Sawyer. You know, I got another rake.
What do you... All the best. I also read in the paper today that you've got this incentive for homeowners to build, if, for instance, they want to build a big house, well then there's a limit to how much square footage they can build on that property.
That's right.
But if they build a second unit on that same property and use it for housing,
Right.
then they can build even a larger home. Is that
Right,
correct?
Right. So in the
That's
city
interesting.
in the city of Aspen, we have a program which it's actually right through our zoning. It's through our land use code, and we allow these things called accessory dwelling units. We call them ADUs. And the whole concept behind an ADU is that someone building a single-family dwelling would want to build this additional unit, either attached or detached on the same site, which would accommodate an employee in the city or in the area. What the landowner gets out of that, it's somewhat complex. We have another program called our growth management quota system. We only allow a certain number of homes to be built, a certain amount of commercial space, industrial space to be built in a certain year. So we allocated this growth into certain pots: the residential, the commercial, the industrial. So even to build a single-family dwelling, one needs to gain one of those growth management quotas, one of those units, and qualify for that. One way of qualifying for one of those units is to say, I'll build an accessory dwelling unit. I'll build an ADU. If you build an ADU, you're exempt from growth management. Okay?
What I read in the paper was that you can't you can't make the homeowner mandatorily use those as.
Correct.
So they're using them as guest houses, rather.
Correct. I mean, we found that one of the problems in Aspen is that most people who build these ADUs don't need the revenue from the ADU to help them out with the mortgage like average Americans would. They just build it in a sense to get through this growth management quota system that I talked about, and we find that the majority of these ADUs that have been built aren't functioning the way we hope to, practically providing housing for Aspen area employees.
But you can't expect
it is a true incentive to
a $10 million homeowner to put up a place and house someone. I mean, don't they come here to be away from that so that they can live privately? I mean, that's what that's why they made the money in the first place. So I mean, how can you
I
ask
guess
them to
there's
do
an
that?
assumption that when even houses create employees. I mean, in these 5,000 to 10,000 square foot homes, you have property management. The property management business in this area is huge. People who take care of plants, who take care of gardens, who take care of the inside of buildings, who get it ready for when that second homeowner comes back to Aspen for 2 or 3 weeks out of the year.
But should they have to live on the same property as the people they work for? Is that right? I don't think that you can make people do that.
No, you can't. I mean, we're saying you can open it up to any employee. Maybe it's a school teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe it's somebody who works for the fire department. Maybe it's
But
somebody
it's
who
not
works here at
mandatory.
City Hall.
But it's
no,
not
correct,
mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
If you could advise Nantucket and our housing situation, which I've kind of told you a little bit about, what would you think would be the proper steps to start to take, in your opinion, from what you know?
Well, I don't think you can start too soon. And I think you have housing. There's no one simple answer to providing housing, affordable housing. You have to look. There's many pieces to the puzzle, and you have to be creative. You have to be proactive, and you have to think to the future. It's important to assemble land pieces as much as you can, and even if you're not ready to do something with it, hold on to it. That's a finite commodity, and it will go away if a housing authority or the government or some entity, a land trust, the town doesn't. If they don't get their hands on it, it will go away and it will be consumed. I think communities need to work very closely with the private sector, where there's an opportunity to create a partnership between a developer putting something in the ground and adding some affordable housing to that. There may need to be a community subsidy to help that work, to make the dollars work for that developer. There's a cost to this. So you need to continue to think that way. I think communities need to be proactive in trying to build housing themselves and get it in the ground, or choosing someone to do it for them if they don't have the capacity, the sort of operational or employee base to be able to plan and oversee projects and get them in the ground. Once you get a housing project in the ground, there's always maintenance. There's always, the ongoing management, how to keep it up, how to get people in there. And And another feature of all the pieces to the puzzle of affordable housing is the regulatory side. And if communities are real serious about requiring development to mitigate the impacts it creates, there's plenty of case law which supports communities so that communities can require those developments to mitigate their impact. There have been many, many studies across this country in terms of what uses create what number of employees, and you know, Nantucket would probably want to look internally at themselves and interview their own businesses and find out what a certain lodge creates in terms of employee demand to keep that lodge running, or a restaurant and what it needs and what it brings in. You know, and those businesses obviously they need employees to run. Aspen's done a lot right. They've experimented a lot and they've tried various things. That there's no one right solution, or you know, it takes a lot of. I think this community has had a lot of foresight and political courage to get out there and pass regulations and adopt comprehensive plans that keep this community the place that they all want it to be.